So this book I read called "100 Things Packer Fans Should Know Before They Die." It was written by Rob Rochelle. It's a fairly new book. I just got it from my from my grandparents last Christmas, I believe, and I just finished it a few days ago. But I've just been reading it slow because I don't know. It's a weird book. It doesn't have chapters. It has more like facts or like people or places or events or time periods or coaches, players, general managers, stuff like that. So like it's 100 things. So there's 100 points, facts, blah blah blah. And see, it's kind of hard to share. I'll try and show you real quick. Like number one is Brett Favre, probably the best quarterback in Packers history. If not him, then Bart Starr. See, it says one right there since he's the first fact, and then a few pages, maybe anywhere from 5 to 10, and then look, boom, number two. It's like another chapter, but it's actually just talking about a whole nother person or event, like I said before. One of my favorites is number 40, which is currently our head coach for the Packers. That's why I like it so much, is because it's relevant to me, it's relevant to the Packers right now, and I think it's one of the better points / chapters in the book, so I'm going to read it. Number 40, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was bold, daring, and courageous. He had just been named the 14th head coach in Green Bay Packers history, and Mike McCarthy, who rarely made headlines with his words, did so on this day. I'd like to acknowledge the fans of Green Bay and just to let them know that there will be an unconditional commitment to bring a world championship back to Green Bay, McCarthy said in his introductory press conference. I think that's a very important to state right up front. At this time, many undoubtedly chuckled. The Packers were coming off of a dysfunctional 4-12 season and had an aging roster and lacked young people. But to many surprise, just 5 years later, he won the Super Bowl with the Packers defeating Pittsburgh 31-25 in the Super Bowl. So that's just a little piece that I really like from this book. It's also, I really just like the book because, it's not a picture book, but at the same time, every so often, it has pictures that I love to look at. Like that one right there is Brett Favre right there and Reggie White. And you don't see many pictures with Reggie White because he died not even being with the Packers that long. And Brett Favre is probably one of my favorite players ever, and so is Reggie White, who both played for the Packers, and they're both in that picture. And I find it really cool because like normal books would have if you want to learn something would have a start from the beginning of the history till now, but this is just all over the place, which some people might not like. So don't read this book if you're like that. If you don't like skipping all over the place and stuff like that where it's not in a synchronized fashion, don't read this book. Or don't read this book also if you're not a Packers fan. Especially if you're an some other NFC North supporter like the Lions, Bears, and Vikings. I'm just guessing they wouldn't like this book because they hate the Packers. And I think it's really well written. It's kind of an intermediate level, so anybody from the age of 10 to 100 can read this, and it will give factual, good information to all age groups, not just one specific. It can give good insight and good facts for both, especially since you like the Packers. And here's my other favorite one. It's number 64. It's the Favre trade. If you didn't know, Favre started with the Favre started with the Vikings because he was Favre started with the Falcons because he was drafted by the Falcons in his draft class. And then this talks about like the trading of him to the Packers. So I'm going to read a little part. Bob Harlan was scrambling. Green Bay's president was getting ready to watch his Packers face the Atlanta Falcons on December 1st, 1991. Before the game, Ron Wolf, who had just been named Green Bay's general manager, told his new boss he was going down to the field to scout Atlanta's backup quarterback. Wolf said he liked what he saw and he was going to trade for that player. Just one thing. Harlan wasn't even sure who the Falcons' backup quarterback was. Ron left, I started looking at the roster to see who that backup quarterback was, Harlan chuckled. And Ron came back shortly before kickoff and said, Bob, we're going to make a trade for Brett Favre. Are you okay with that? I told him. I promised you it was your team to run. There'd be no interference. I'm fine with it. Before long, the Packers' acquisition of Favre would rank among the greatest trades in league history. On February 12, 1992, Wolf sent a first-round draft pick, the 17th overall selection, to the Atlanta Falcons for the unproven Brett Favre. And I really like that line right there, the unproven Brett Favre, because even though at the time when they wanted to trade for him and all that, lots of people didn't know much about him, where he came from, his background, how good he was, his mechanics, his footwork, all of that. Nobody knew that he was that good. That's one thing I've always liked about the Packers, is their general managers and coaches are usually very good at scouting college, and they're also very good at getting very young players that are very talented in late rounds. Like, lots of people would just, go over those people, but the Packers don't. They are very good at, like, scoping out who they want to trade. And I just overall, I think this book is meant for all ages. I think even you'd like it, Mr. Ripley. I think lots of the classmates would like it. Maybe not, like I said, the Packers fans, which is tragic. But yeah, I give this a book a 10 out of 10. It's good. It has facts, and it's an easy read. You fly through it really quick. Like, you'll be reading the first story / chapter, and like it's 5 pages, and then you're like, wow, that was really interesting. And then boom, the next one, it'll have a new person, something completely different, and you'll be like, I wonder what that is. And then you'll end up reading it, and that's what happened to me. I kept every single one. I kept seeing somebody new or a different or something I didn't know about the Packers, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I want to read that? I mean, it's a good learning book. It's a good factual book, and so yeah, 100 things Packers fans should know before they die.